Hey, connect with me real quick outside of comfort zones. So, when you are not secure and sure of yourself, the people who you surround yourself with, you can and will pick up their negative habits. I know this to be true because at a point in my life when I was not secure or sure of myself, when I was still trying to figure myself out after my incarceration, and honestly, I didn't even realize that I was still trying to figure myself out, right? The first relationship that I got in, the habits that he had, I over time eventually developed them. I started drinking and smoking weed, right? Then, when that relationship was over, the next relationship that I got in, when I first got into that relationship, I was a bit overweight and I started like a workout plan. I had a strict regimen. I was meal prepping, I was exercising, I was getting up every morning, like early in the morning to, of course, work out, get my son out the door to go to school, and then I would walk for miles, right? And then when I got into my next relationship, the guy that I was dealing with, he didn't exercise. He hated mornings. He didn't believe in getting up in the mornings. And he used to like say little backhanded comments about me getting up in the mornings, right? And then he'd be like, oh, it doesn't matter how early or how late you get up, you can still get to your workout. Whereas me, I have always been a morning person and I enjoyed those morning workouts, right? Because it would get me pumped up, it would get my energy going, and then, I would have amazing days. Not only that, movement, especially at the start of your day or any time of the day, but for me, movement at the start of my day, it was great for my mental health. Although movement period is great for your mental health. So if ever you feel your thoughts getting the best of you, move your body, turn on some upbeat music and get yourself moving and watch. You will immediately watch your mood improve, right? So now he didn't exercise. He would, say little backhanded comments about me exercising. And what I did was I started to slack, on my exercising, right? I adopted his habit. Now, another thing, I was not a big TV watcher, and no disrespect to people who watch TV, right? It was just my thing to not watch TV because I always felt like when with me sitting still, I was not working toward my goals. I'm a hands-on type of person, especially like at that point in my life, even now, and I know that TV keeps you stagnant, whereas music, I turn music on and I would listen to music all day long from the time I woke up to the time I woke up. It keeps me moving. I like to move and groove to the music. Now, once I brought him into my life, he had certain TV shows that he would watch. And me, I did have my few trash TV shows that I would watch, whenever I would want to wind down with a J or whatever. I would watch my little trash TV, smoke my J, turn the TV off, go to sleep, like that was my thing. And once I brought him into my life, he had specific TV shows that he would watch, and I started watching them with him. These are just examples that I'm giving you, of things that happened to me, right? Another thing, I had friends who weren't really ambitious, who felt like they didn't know what their purpose was in life. And not that I knew what my exact purpose was, but I had goals, I had visions, I had things that I was working toward. But I would constantly talk to these friends. Now, I wasn't really big on gossip or anything like that. I didn't like talking about people, especially other women. Couldn't stand talking about other women because, like we already have so many, things against us. It's like, why do I want to be against other women? But from me communicating with this friend so often, I in turn started gossiping, and I started slacking on my goals. Now, it is not anyone else's fault, right? This was all my fault. But one of the last things, one of the people who I hold near and dear to my heart, one day told me that I made them feel less than. Right now, this was long before I knew anything about you can't make a person feel a way about themselves that they don't already feel, right? When I came home from prison, because I had goals and, dreams and visions and plans, like, oh man, the plans that I had, they were out of this world. I came home. I took a construction program when I was led to believe that that wasn't going to work out for me. The trade that I learned in prison, which was opticianry, I came home, excuse me, and I went to school for that, right? I went and got my degree. After getting the degree, I then, worked toward getting my New York State license. Now I came home and I hit the ground running. I was working multiple jobs, 2 and 3 jobs at a time, going to school full time. I knew that there were things that I wanted to do, and I felt as if I was behind, which I really wasn't. I was exactly where I needed to be at that point in my life. But as soon as this person, had a conversation with me and cried to me and say, um, I you make me feel less than because I had all of this time while you were incarcerated, and I didn't go to school, or I started school and then I stopped going to school or whatever. When they told me these things, I immediately stopped working toward my goals because I did not want to make them feel less than, right? Not only that, they were extremely fearful. Me, I was a risk taker, obviously. That's how I ended up, in prison. I was a risk taker. I really believed, and I still believe, that there are no rewards without the risk, or there are no risks without rewards. However the saying goes, right? And because they were so fearful, and every time I wanted to, take a leap of faith in myself, they would speak so much fear over the plans that I had. I started to adopt their fears. And let me tell you, I allowed those fears to hold me back for so many years. I started a side optical business, or rather a little hustle. And no, I started a side optical business. We went into this venture together. This person was a silent partner, which I didn't realize that they would be, because that wasn't the plan. And when they weren't doing their part, I was like, hey, whatever money you gave me to get this started, I'm just going to give it to you, give it back to you, right? But then they continued to speak fear over my plans. I listened to them and I started to adopt those fears. Again, it is not anyone else's fault, because since I was not sure of myself, and since I was not secure within myself, I allowed their behaviors to become mine and to hinder my growth. Please, I share this so that you can be mindful of the people who you have in your life. One thing that I had to learn over time: every idea and plan is to not be shared, right? Although I don't always believe that that's true, because when you are secure and sure within yourself, you can share every idea, even with the fearful ones, and you will not allow them to speak fear over your plans, because you are just going to continue to take the steps and the action that is needed for you to achieve said goals and for you to reach, that goal that you have. Hence why it is so important for you to have a healthy relationship with yourself. Why it is important for you to be secure and sure of yourself. And if you are not secure and sure of yourself and you need a little assistance on how to get there, watch my videos. I got you. I promise you I do. I lost myself, right? Or rather, I never gained my sense of self when I came home from prison. But my highest self, it forced me, because one, I never give up. I never give up. I don't care what adversity I was faced with, what obstacles came my way. I still always had this burning fire within me. But because I didn't have a healthy relationship with myself, my higher self said, hey, or rather the universe, right? Because I mean, I did some fucked up shit when I was younger, or whatever, and karma is real. And the universe said, I need you to feel the pain so that you can be the phoenix that rises from the ashes. And baby, I have risen. We are here, you know? So, again, if you need any assistance, you need any encouragement, you need a little inspiration, let me be the one to help you out. That means subscribe, like, comment, share, so that we can achieve our goals, we can build our relationship back up with ourselves, we can become secure within ourselves, and we can love ourselves. I love me, right? And because I love me and because my relationship is secure within myself today, I can love you unconditionally as well. I love you and I thank you for connecting with me outside of comfort zones.